Instagram. Had a situation with the biggest artist in the world, and it turned into a whole ghostwriting scandal. And now I am the ghost.
10 years ago, this guy, Quentin Miller, unknowingly landed right in the crossfire of Drake's two major beefs. First with me.
Don't let anybody tell you that you're not supposed to collaborate on music. That's what this is for. We should, whatever gets you to that destination. If you need somebody to write the whole thing, and all you do is just go in and track it. There's still artists that exist like that people love and revere, and they sell out stadiums. That's not you though. That's not you. No. By the way, all my biggest songs and any song that really, really did damage for me, I wrote every single bit. Not even the hits and the ones that you. It's like I never. I'm not going to collaborate with somebody on any of the timestamp records.
Despite claiming he's written every lyric of his hits, considering that 10 bands is currently certified platinum, and considering you just heard Quentin Miller's reference, that's not exactly
So I don't want to rock the boat trying to trip on this. It could be the next song that really changed my life. Right. So let me go ahead and get this out the way. You don't want to get, ran over, but sometimes you do gotta do what you gotta do to get in the door, So it's like it's tough. It's tough to gauge that situation.
Also forming close ties too. Once he moved out to Cali with the
It's just about it.
That's good. Quentin Miller's perspective.
Anytime anybody's involved with one song with this guy, it's like everything, and it's just like it just wasn't like that. It just didn't. It just didn't happen. It was strange.
Quentin Miller went from working with the most in a single tweet to that Quentin Miller says ruined his life.
It's pretty much taboo for me to even talk about it. I pretty much try to act like it don't even exist. The biggest project of my entire career, right? That's pretty strange. But unfortunately, I don't have the good memories about it that everybody has. My good memories were all murdered. You know what I'm saying? Like the day Meek Mandela, y'all buying that bullshit since he came out of jail and he's whatever. The day he, put my name out there, and it just blew up my whole spot. That shit just everything up for me, bro. I was dropped as an artist, and I'm working these bullshit ass jobs. I'm working Publix, I'm working Target, I'm working factories and warehouses, and then This came, and it's like, oh shit, my life is about to change. After a tweet turned into like one of the most stressful moments of my life.
Well, it will only get worse later on when we learn what Meek Mill had asked Quentin Miller behind the scenes. This Twitter rant that was extra surprising, considering Drake clearly had love for Meek Mill and his music, and again just gave him the biggest song on his album. But yeah, in addition to if you're reading this leaked reference tracks that I already played, to help back up proof of these bold claims, Quentin Miller's OG demo of Rico would suspiciously hit the internet too.
Oh, money, new women, gotta keep it coming. The girl in your dreams to me is probably not true. Around summertime season, OVO, we might be here with a Rico.
As you can tell, and as is the case for a lot of reference tracks, these were were not all of Drake's exact final lyrics, but there's not denying who came up with the flow. And the same with 10 Bands, where, along with writing many of those punchlines, Quentin was also the one who penned this bar.
I can tell you about the safe house nights on California. I can tell you not a rabbit.
Although I mentioned that Quentin Miller's name had always been listed in the credits, to actually hear evidence like this, though, made it a million times more real, especially for an artist like Drake, who constantly brags about being the best. But how are all of these leaks getting out on the internet? DJ Drama, who cites his ex-wife confirming that Drama was the one who sent Rico's reference for Rico to Meek Mill when it came to Know Yourself, though. This leak was truly a snake move.
That leak came from Drama. And we in the studio one night, and Drama's like, yo, man, play one of them shits, man. Play one of them shits. And I'm like, man, nah, man. He's like, nah, play one of them shits, bro. You good. I play it. He's like, play it one more time. If you listen to the Know Yourself reference, you hear people in the background. Yeah, it just sounds like someone's recording it. Man, in the confusion of that shit, me and DJ Drama and Cannon, like that whole side, our ties were severed because of that shit, because there was just so much confusion. Everybody was trying to find out whose fault was it, this and that. Like, y'all just don't know what them phone calls was like. Y'all just don't know what that pressure was like. It was a lot. It was hot.
As soon as all these leaks surfaced and Meek Mill tweeted his name, Quentin says he called Drake to ask what to do.
Why would you want to
Fake
fake for another nigga?
was first to respond.
That make you a loser, bro.
Involvement in Drake's career, we have come a long way together. So let me start by putting something into perspective. I have spent maybe 30 minutes in the studio with you. Nice enough guy, very talented. If you're asking if he contributed to reading this, yes, he did. You can also see that by reading the credits. Winter 2014, I was just another guy working a job I hated with a passion for music. Typed Quentin Miller at the following day on his Tumblr page, attempting to clear the air, and somehow found myself on the phone with one of my idols. I told him I worked in a bakery, and his exact words were, F that, you are destined for greatness. Most of the project was done before I came in the picture. I watched this man piece together words in front of me. I watched him write and replace bars 2 to 3 at a time and witnessed him freestyle. I took notes from the best in the game. I am not and never will be a ghostwriter for Drake. I'm proud to say that we've collaborated, but I can never take credit for anything other than a few songs we've worked on. If you ask me, this first statement sounds like it went through the OVO PR department. But to this day, if you ask Drake,
that project's obviously riddled in controversy because of Quentin Miller, right? A lot of people feel like they're still battling these ghostwriting rumors and this type of thing. That in some sense, I think, does try to tarnish your legacy. I really made my peace. I have no embarrassment when it comes to what I did on that album. I worked with somebody, I think 4 or 5 songs. I pulled my weight when it came to my pen. It wasn't like I needed somebody to facilitate, entire ideas. We worked together. If I need to be the poster child that took all those hits for all my peers hiding behind me that do the same thing every album, that's fine. I'll do it.
Comes over, hey yo, Meek wants you to write some shit for him. I'm like, nah. Wait, Meek wants you to write a record for him? He wants me to write a hook or something. He wants me to write for him. Okay. They have a good relationship. They weren't beefing. So I don't know, I just felt like, nah.
allegedly declining enough to write for Meek due to his allegiance to Drake's camp at the time and not wanting to take on more clients. If this is true, then it also makes sense why he was so adamant about exposing Quentin on Twitter. But whatever the reason was, it backfired right in Meek Mill's face. As I'm sure you all remember, only 4 days later came Drake's chance to respond, and first was charged up, before he then doubled down with the second diss track as the entire internet went crazy. Oh, they got you so
bro. They got you big.
Serena could handle this one all by himself, and even becoming the first artist to ever be Grammy nominated for a diss track. Overall, this beef destroyed Meek Mill's reputation, with Drake walking out the obvious winner. But with that said, aside from soon getting slammed with obstacles that he could have never imagined, possibly the saddest part of all had to be watching Meek Mill and Drake then make up as friends just 2 years later, even reuniting on a new track together, while Quentin Miller's life was still a living hell.
That's one of the biggest things I regret, because in the end, that nigga Drake and Meek, them niggas is best friends now. They watch basketball games and do clothes and shit together, you know? So it's just like, what the fuck was that even for? What the fuck was all of that for? You know, like, everybody else is able to move on because everybody else's careers was established and shit. I envy all the other producers, artists, writers, whatever involved. Like, they could just look at it in a good light, because it wasn't a good light for me. It was hell for me after that shit, you know? Glad y'all enjoyed it. Whatever, man. Trying to move forward. Two, music game, labels, artists, whoever, take a chance on me. Take a chance on Quentin Miller, man. Y'all know I do these records. Y'all know I got these records. I can do this shit in my sleep. Everybody want to kick me to the curb, man. You know what? It helps. It also helps with the business of writing. When people know that you are part of certain things, it makes people more prone to work with you, you know? But it's not that way with me, because I just so happen to have had a situation with the biggest artist in the world, and it turned into a ghostwriting scandal. And now I am the ghost. Now, anytime people work with me, it's like I'm supposed to be a ghost.
Despite his reputation now buried below the mud, unfortunately the drama was far from over for Quentin Miller, because before his crazy year of 2015 could even finish, after deciding to stop at his local Nike store one day in LA, this decision proved extremely unlucky.
So crazy, bro. That day was insane. I'm about to go to Hit Boy's house, but before I go, I'm like, I'm gonna just stop at the Nike store. I go to the Nike store. It was on Wilshire at the time. I get out the Uber. Paparazzi is across the street. It's just a bunch of paparazzi. I'm like, oh shit, who is it? It's me and Meek. Lock eyes. I just turn. I just go in the store.
So they blew it up like this right for Drake. You know what I mean? And that's why Drew Chase's beat Quentin Miller up in LA and all that shit. Wait. Quentin Miller got beat up. Yeah. They ain't see y'all about that shit. They beat Quentin Miller up.
Yeah, it's true. I was walking to the Nike store, and he approached me and basically told me, like, you know, he appreciated the letter I dropped, and made him seem like he was a liar or whatnot. And they stole off on me in the Nike store and ran. I shed blood in the Nike store on Wilshire. I shed blood in the Nike store.
I mean, he shed blood in the Nike store, and his side of the story goes that Meek Mill had apparently felt disrespected by that statement. Remember that Quentin had put out on Tumblr? Quentin would probably also still being mad that he said no to writing for him. So then, Meek and his squad likely tried to pressure Quentin Miller into admitting that he was lying on camera. But he stood his ground, resulting in a bloody lip, though, as well as I'm sure a lot of questions when he then went to Hit Boy's house after the incident, and a different rapper pulled up.
So anyway, from there, then afterwards, then I pull up the Hit Boy. I got the busted lip. Travis Scott pulls up. I'm like, damn, I had to
Wait.
Yes.
Like, bro, I love you. Hold on. It's a lot going on right now. So you go to get some Nike.
He just went to get some Uptown.
Yeah. Yes.
Every few months, it felt like there was some new headline where Quentin Miller couldn't catch a break. However, 1 year later, life delivered yet another devastating blow. A blow that's made it nearly impossible for Quentin Miller to balance any progress he had built.
It felt like, damn, I gotta figure some shit out again. But then I lose my leg in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Now this is like
right
2 months. Damn near the whole 2016, I'm just like trying to walk again.
Yeah. Back in September 2016, Quentin Miller lost his lower left leg from the knee down due to having been amputated after a bad car accident. Also sharing this pic on Instagram. If you tell him to be 100% honest, though, the real reason that led to this crash.
Yeah, actually, the crazy thing is I was trying to wean myself off the Zans. I found out later that you can't just go cold turkey off shit like that, you know, because it causes a seizure. So really, I wasn't even on them the day it happened.
Admittedly, he was struggling with substance abuse as well, due to all that he was going through. Again, it had to be painful to watch a whole industry kick him to the curb and abandon him. But as for his relationship with Drake, despite holding down his loyalty to OVO, it wasn't long though until the two stopped talking to each other.
Alright, after I said something, then it was less talking. Then after the Meek Nike store situation, then it was like even less talking. I'm like, bro, literally, the man said, get on camera and say, you was lying, you wrote that shit, and I said, no. I turned away from a lot of situations for that. You know, it is what it is. But our relationship is just weird. I don't know where we stand. I feel like it's like a level of resentment towards me.
Working with Quentin Miller instantly became a risk if you're an artist. And to make matters way worse, typically if you write even one smash hit for an artist the size of Drake, then the checks you cash will match its size. But regrettably, that was far from the case.
And then, like, the part of it all was I was in a publishing deal. So I couldn't even really capitalize on those songs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anybody that wasn't in a publishing deal and you get songs like that, you know, your life has changed, you know, but.
As he tells it, due to his complicated paperwork and previous contracts, Quentin Miller was barely able to make a dime off of his multiple platinum hits. Gotta love the music industry. But with that said, if there was any positive at all to come out of the situation, there were now more eyes on Quentin Miller and his music than ever before. Rather than doing what every other rapper would do though and take advantage, Quentin did the exact opposite. He ducked away back into the shadows. I never wanted to use the hype of that shit, Quentin told XXL. Like, I let that shit die down, and I was just doing wedding crashers the whole year. I was like, nah, I'm not about to drop no solo projects and get caught up in that. I had to wait it out. However, little did Quentin know, but just when things had looked like they had cooled off, he was forced to relive the same exact nightmare. Totally against his will, only 2 years removed from the email controversy, Quentin Miller was dragged back into more viral drama, which, as it now appears though, was secretly another case of hypocrisy. Following years of some of this is intention between both sides, Miller reported things to Drake's mentor and Young Money CEO, Lil Wayne, after making their beef public in 2016. It was 2018 when things really went downhill, beginning with this direct shot from Pusha T on his album Daytona.
It was written like Nas, but it came from Quentin.
Attempting to shine the spotlight back on Drake, not actually writing his own raps, and name dropping Quentin Miller in the process. It was the same exact day though when Drake's response arrived. And W Freestyle kicks off like this. So if you're looking for working with someone on a couple of verses, what do you really think of the dude that's making your beats? I've done things for him I thought he never would need. Father had to stretch his hands out and get it from me. Referring here, of course, to Kanye West, who not only produced the entirety of Daytona, but like we have seen on multiple occasions, such as this tweet here, for the 2018 Ye track, Yikes, Drake has quietly helped write for Kanye numerous times.
But my greatest talent is writing, you know, and that's why people ask me to write songs for them. That's why people like to get in the room and write with me. Look, if it makes a great song and you're the one that's voicing it, but it's you and this other person that's cooking it up, you're not doing anything wrong.
The drama would play out, though, after joking and posting this invoice to Pusha T and Good Music for, quote, emotional assistance and career reviving. It was just 3 days later when a nuke was dropped. The story of Added On by Pusha T will be remembered as one of the most impactful diss songs in rap history. But before exposing that Drake has been hiding a kid, the actually states right away in line 1 that he's steering away from the ghostwriting stuff. And according to Quentin Miller, Pusha T actually called him the very night this diss bomb dropped and explained it to him.
The next diss song, you know, which had nothing to do with, he started off ghostwriting aside, and that night he called me and was like, yo, I really wanted to make sure you heard that, you know, heard that I wanted to switch the narrative up.
I thought the thing last night actually. For real, that is the one regret that I really do have about Infrared. You know, Quentin is like extremely talented, and he's really trying to get past this whole narrative and like, you know, just try to get his career on and, you know, he's just a character sheet. And I know it wasn't nothing major, I didn't say anything crazy, but still I know that he wants to get past it. And I see how he did this. Potential managers went when you hear his name because of everything that's associated with him, the ghostwriting.
Pusha T claiming that he regrets pulling Quentin back into Drake's beef in the first place. Meanwhile, feeling conflicted again in the middle of two associates, when pressed by TMZ here to pick a side in the beef.
What's going on, man? What's up? So, of course, in the past, you Drake with Drizzy Drake, and right now he's with Pusha T, and Drake, with hip hop. So, but who do you think Drake with Pusha T with hip hop? So you want to give your opinion on who you think is gonna come up with Drake, Pusha T with hip hop? So you know, so with Drake, I fuck with Pusha T, I fuck with.
Pusha T's regret to involve Quentin Miller from the start, though, it definitely makes more sense after learning this recent news, raising new questions all over the place. In a stunning twist of events in the Drake vs. Pusha beef, reference tracks have now surfaced that totally flip the tables. Following years of calling out Drake for not coming up with his own lyrics, in March of 2026, Pusha T was then hit with ghostwriting allegations of his own, with the same exact writer, Quentin Miller.
Yeah. The real gon' come out, the real gon' come out, the real gon' come out. The spirit of Martian, the beast in me. Saucing all y'all for me, niggas.
If Pusha T sending songs around, maybe even if they don't get released or not, at the end of the day, according to the hip hop mantra, ghostwriting is ghostwriting. And I see some people in the chat, they're like, nah, man, it was just some hooks. Wait, so now y'all are changing up this idea of ghostwriting, right?
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point the 1-800-GOT-JUNK, or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Lactose. Discover the joy of lactate creamers.
What's in your mouth? What's going on here? Can I help you feel? You weren't supposed to, huh?
I have a joke for you.
Some will try to excuse these three references as if they're all from unreleased songs. Not to mention, we have to be extra careful now with AI and low-quality snippets, but it doesn't change the reaction. However, back in 2018, though, after finding himself pulled into another major beef, Quentin Miller had finally had enough. And just like he tweeted, he was about to finally address everything in his own words once and for all.
Well, Pusha had dropped Infrared and Drake had dropped Duppy, and then Nicki had tweeted. It was like a moment of frustration because it's just like, damn, here it goes again. My name being brought up, but not for the conversation I wanted to be brought up with. I woke up the next day like, let me just put this down.
3 days after Daytona, in May of 2018, Quentin Miller released his new Destiny freestyle to the world. With a cover showing off his prosthetic leg, Nicki popping off, she may never amend me. In response to Nicki Minaj, who had tweeted this one day prior. Before then, moving into his history with Drake. For reading this was 2015, I lost a leg in 16. Collaborated with my favorite rapper a few times. I don't want none of his credit, I'm just focused on mine.
Man, I lost a leg the next year. I had so much other things than just that whole unique Drake ghostwriting thing. And it's just the way that it got out there. There's a big difference between wrote for and collaborated, despite how people may perceive things. They weren't in those studios or that. I mean, at the end of the day, they changed my life. I could never repay them for that.
I'm more than just a prop, you know? Quentin raps in the outro. I'm a person too, and I ain't asked for none of this. I'm sure this freestyle had to feel good to get off his chest. However, despite calling Drake his favorite rapper, only 3 months later when a fan told him to try to write for Drake again, never doing anything with that guy again, Quentin Miller typed back, prior to deleting his post. Deleted that tweet not out of fear, but rather I literally don't even care for that to become a thing. He's doing him and I'm doing me, point blank. Now, what did, quote, doing me really mean for Quentin Miller? Unfortunately, just more of what he was already familiar with. The struggle.
I was struggling when I linked with you for the last shit. I flew up there on my own time. Man, I bought some shirts. The shit didn't sell. I was broke for like 2 months. trying to push the shit on my own, man. You know, I can feel the changes. To be so close to everything you want and have it all taken, you don't know what pain is.
Revealing that he fell back to being broke in 2019, he would also go as far as to post this announcement. Quentin Miller was retiring. Now, a rapper claiming to retire is about the oldest lie in the book. And while he definitely counted himself out at one point, Quentin's love for hip-hop, though, would not allow him to quit. And against all odds, he has found his way back into the studio with another legend.
Now, I want y'all to take this message on. His love for Quentin basically broke the thing. But he does have another leg. Yes, he has another leg.
Despite losing a limb, Kanye West would call up Quentin Miller to join his team right as his 2024 Vultures album took shape. And in addition to helping on both Vultures, clearly Kanye has enjoyed working with Quentin enough that he also used him for 10 tracks on Bully, Kanye West's 12th studio album.
First person I think of is Quentin Miller, because he'll write something and just one-to-one, it could go. Right. It could go, you ain't even have to change anything. I remember when I met him, before we were doing Vultures, before it's called Vultures, I knew we was going to come for the chip.
Shout out to you for letting me be a part of this journey. Thankful is an understatement. Quentin tagged on Instagram, dreams really do come true. 10 piece from me. It's no secret that Kanye has worked with writers for years, but choosing to work with Quentin Miller here was significant and a massive love for his comeback. And besides releasing his own solo stuff, as well as new Wedding Crashers music in 2022, Quentin's bounce back effort, he has also locked in recent credits with names like Nas and Big Sean, to name a few. But if you're wondering if he'll ever work with Drake again, will we see his name in the Iceman credits? If you ask me, that ship sailed a long time ago.
I feel like I got the wrong end of the deal, and they all know it, and they're like, "Oh man, so sorry."
No matter how you want to describe it, ghostwriting is one of the most controversial topics in hip-hop that will never go away. And for Quentin Miller, after all that he's been through, it's just great to see him back finding success in
It's like Scarface, the movie. I want the world and everything that's in it.
Up, down, left, right. When I say these words, you instinctively know.
In May. All right, y'all. This